All right. Good day, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 26th, 2022. It is hump day, folks. And let's just hump right into the headlines here, get right to it. I am going to try to make this a little shorter today. I got some things I got to get done. So I'm going to be brief on some of these headlines so I can get out of here. First off, we've got Communist News Network anchor Brianna Killar, and she is now attacking our one of our favorites, Tucker Carlson. And she said on New Day just the other day that host Tucker Carlson is a propagandist whose BS should not be allowed on television. So she had a representative on there, Democrat, and they were talking back and forth. Just to give you the short version, they were talking back and forth about how Tucker Carlson has been reporting on the Ukraine border and Russia, and how his propaganda is now causing people to call in to this state representative of New Jersey, call into his office and complain to him, and they find it very disturbing. They're pretty upset about it that his propaganda is causing all these problems. So I'm going to pause for just a second and go to this. What about your propaganda? What about the propaganda that they've been putting out for decades? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. How about the propaganda for the vacations? You guys spew out filth out of your mouth daily about infection rates and deaths. Your numbers are not even accurate, and you are lying about everything, and you guys don't talk about the therapeutics. So how about that for propaganda, Miss Brianna? I'm moving on. All right. Let's talk about this headline, which we've been talking about this, and we've been kind of letting you guys know that this is going to happen, and here it's starting. So, fired workers sue Michigan's Blue Cross Blue Shield over the vacation mandate. We're not just numbers. So, again, I'll briefly cover this. So, what's happened is that the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan fell into one of those categories of over 100 employees. So they pushed the mandate on people, and these people were either fired or had to quit. So here's some of the quotes. I suppose to be a safety net for my kids, one lady said, and I have to choose between a livelihood or the insurance and all of that, or going through a medical procedure that I 100% disagree. The federal vacation mandate affecting businesses with 100 or more workers caused problems before it was even enforced. So on January 13th, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the rule for businesses that uphold the healthcare mandate. Many Michigan businesses owners felt relieved that they did not have to enforce the mandate any longer, and others had already moved forward with it and have caused a lot of these problems. What are some of these problems? Well, now over 170 terminated insurance employees denied a religious exemption, such as this lady here, have joined forces to take legal action against the company. And they have got a lawyer, and the lawyer is on fire about this. It goes on further to say that there's other employees that have lost their jobs, and one in particular, his name is Bill Agee. Uh, the purpose of having this faith question was hard for Bill Agee, so he filed for religious exemption. And remember, you're asking for permission with an exemption. We have filings for religious freedom. We don't need your permission. But failing to meet the criteria was even worse. He was a former team leader for inventory at the company, and given his former years as a pastor, he felt shocked after the denial and asked to view the criteria. Why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because this is just the start. There is going to be thousands and thousands of lawsuits over these mandates. If you have if you have lost your job, if you have gotten fired, or if you had to walk away, that's why we keep telling you folks, do not walk off your job. Force them to fire you if they're going to enforce mandates, because this right here is the first of thousands of class action lawsuits against all of these companies that were forcing the mandates on you. Mandates are not law. We told you employers thousands of times, don't force this on people. You're setting yourself up. Well, here it comes, folks, and the avalanche has just started. All right, next headline. Now, this is disgusting. California mom sues school district, claims teacher gave daughter tips on how to bind her breast. California mother is taking legal action against the SUSD school district, claiming that two LGBTQ activist teachers secretly manipulated her 11-year-old daughter into believing that she was a transgender boy, and gave her tips on how to bind her breast. Sick ass people. That's all I can tell you. The legal claims stating two teachers, Lori uh, Caladera and Kelly Bosky, from the Bureau Vista Middle School, who headed the school's Equality Club, suggested her daughter was a bisexual in sixth grade. She also claimed, without her knowledge, the school officials then created a gender support plan for her daughter. It goes further to say that the parents are supposed to have access to all educational records for their children, but they have a don't tell your parents clubs and don't tell your parents programs, actively coaching children to mutilate themselves, which is not growing your breast. So this mother is fighting back. This mother bear has had enough. Um, and I want to be clear to you folks, not every school out there is bad. Not every teacher out there is bad. I have had some of the most wonderful teachers when I was in school that anybody could ever ask for. And I have one that lives right down the street from me, that brought Noah and I Christmas gifts and is teaching Noah how to plant flowers. She is still teaching, and she's like, I don't know, 80 something years old. And she's a conservationist, and she's a hunter, and she's still teaching kids. So not all teachers are bad, but I am telling you folks, there are some very bad people out there on both sides, all over the place, and you really have to pay attention and protect your children, because this is the nonsense that's going on. All right, next headline. Let's talk about you know who, Mr. Pudding in his pants, Biden. So I talked about this book several times. I watched an interview now. So Schweitzer, Beijing has leverage over the Biden family. This demands investigation. So he was on Fox News the other day with Sean Hannity, and he goes into a roundabout way about talking about the overview of his book and how the Bidens have collected $31 million just from the Chinese, and how it is a security breach. It's part of the national security. It's all bad. There is nothing good that comes from this. He even talked about Hunter Biden traveling around the world during this time and refused Secret Service attention. Now, what does that mean? Well, normally, family members of the president and the vice president still have Secret Service that follow them around. Children in the home go to school; they have Secret Service. Of course, they probably go to a private school, but they still have Secret Service. That includes the adult children. Hunter Biden denied Secret Service an attachment to him while he was traveling all over the world. And their accusation is he did that because he didn't want parts of the government to know what he was doing. So stay tuned on this. This is just starting. There is going to be so much that comes out, especially, and I believe it's already started, probably an investigation on Hunter Biden and the Biden family itself. All right, next headline. We're going to go with Hills Up here. We got Kamala Hills Up Harris blames the sickness for human trafficking surge as smugglers enjoy open border policies. You cannot make this stuff up. Vice President Kamala Hills Up Harris on Tuesday condemned human trafficking, even though as more criminals and smugglers benefit from President Joe Biden's open border policies. Yes, that is correct. So Harris noted that an estimated 25 million people are victims of human trafficking, enriching global criminals by about $150 billion. Now, don't forget, when they first took office last year, Biden appointed her the czar over the border and was asking her to go take care of this border crisis. She finally, reluctantly, after months, showed up 750 miles from the border and then hopped on another jet and went to South America and now wants to send $308 billion to South America to rebuild their economies while she ignores the border crisis. Can't make this stuff up. I'm serious, man. She has no clue. She's clueless. This administration is clueless. Is it on purpose? I don't know, but I can tell you it is a dumpster fire out of control. All right, let's head on to the next headline and let's talk about Turtleman. This guy is ridiculous too. And guess what? He's on our side of the fence. He's on the right side of the fence. That was the left side of the fence. Let's talk about the right side of the fence. Mitch McConnell braces to keep leadership role after midterms. So Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican from Kentucky, has braced himself against America First Republicans who pose renewing his Senate leadership position after the 2022 midterms. Now, if he gets this appointment, folks, he will break a record in history and be the longest serving senator for this position in American history. When is enough enough? Okay, we all know he rode Trump's coattails to get reelected. He pretended to support Trump to get his stamp of approval. Trump gave it to him. He got reelected because he was getting ready to face some pretty stiff competition, and he was afraid. You could see the fear in his eyes. And then as soon as he got what he wanted, he turned tail on Trump. Turtleman went back in his shell. Now, there are two people running against him. One is out of Missouri and one is out of Alaska. The Alaska candidate voted to impeach Trump. Okay. And then you drop further in the article, and let's talk about some of the things that this guy, Turtleman, has been a part of. He's been a part of all kinds of nonsense, ranging from the debt to grow over $20 billion, Obamacare enacted. He helped with the bailouts for the big banks in 2008. He's pushed the left's agenda. He's agreed with them. He helped raise the debt ceiling just months ago to the biggest debt ceiling of all time, $1.9 trillion. Can we afford to have Turtleman back in the majority leader position? No. The answer is absolutely not. Can we have somebody like the representative out of Alaska to take that position? I don't think so. I think we, as Americans, folks, need to start looking at other options, or we're going to be worse off than we are now. Or if we make a couple of steps forward, we're going to end up taking 3 or 4 steps backwards. So pay attention to that, folks. All right, next headline. Let's talk about Osha. Osha formally withdraws Biden's vacation mandate. Occupational Safety and Health Administration is formally withdrawing President Joe Biden's sickness vacation mandate, which would have affected roughly 84 million workers across the country. They announced that yesterday. We've dove into this over and over again several times. and talked about it. So they are formally throwing that in file 13 in that big dumpster fire that's out back of the White House. They're throwing this, OSHA is throwing this in that dumpster fire as well. So it's all crumbling. It's all falling apart on these folks, and they can't stop what's coming for them. So in some of his quotes, Joe Biden has quoted saying, "We've been patient, and our patients are wearing thin, and for your refusal has cost all of us. So please do the right thing," Biden says in an inflammatory speech attempting to coerce on vacation Americans to follow his edicts. All right. But this is a quote, but just don't take it from me. Listen to the voices of the unvacation Americans who are lying in hospital beds, taking their final breaths, saying, "Oh, if I only had gotten the vacation, if only," end quote. That is from Biden. How about all the people that have taken your vacations and your boosters? And it was just reported this morning that somewhere between 60 and 80% of people who have taken the vacations and the boosters are now getting infected with Decepticon. So, my question to you is, why take it? It's not working. All right. Next headline. Let's talk about DeSantis, governor of Florida. The corrupt media is trying to manufacture, quote, the corrupt media is trying to manufacture a Trump DeSantis feud. So I watched the interview with him. He was on Fox News. He said there is nothing between him and Trump, no animosity, no friction. Do they differ on some opinions? Absolutely, they do. But he supports Trump 100%. And this corrupt, lamestream media, including Communist News Network, when they call out Tucker Carlson for propaganda, that's what they're doing. So remember, evil mirrors itself. Remember, a cheater calls you a cheater because that's what they're doing, and that's what this lamestream media does. They're calling the right and the conservative movement. They're blaming us for the stuff that they are doing. It's insanity, folks. All right, last two headlines. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people crossing our border, folks. So December's data early 100,000 border crossers allowed into, listen to me, allowed into US, not counting the getaways. So stay with me here for a minute. President Joe Biden's Homeland Security chief welcomed approximately 100,000 migrants across the US border in December, according to his agency, regardless of the population's effect on American jobs, housing, and communities. So they are allowing these people to come across our border, and then they're placing them in American cities. They're busing them, they're flying them. They say, "Oh, poor immigrants, we cannot fly them home." Why are we flying them home? Why wouldn't we turn them around at the border and say, "Well, if you walked 30,000 miles here, you can walk 30,000 miles back"? Why would we put them on a aircraft and fly them home? I don't get a vacation. I don't get to fly anywhere. I don't have the money. Why are these guys getting a free trip on my dime? 2 million migrants is what they're estimating for 2022. 2 million. Now, remember, I reported that last year, 1.9 million immigrants crossed our border last year in 2021. They're now estimating 2 million more. So one immigrant for every 2 American births in 2022. Did you hear what I just said? One migrant crossing our border for every 2 American births in 2021 or 2022. Sorry. The crisis continues. The administration does nothing. All right. Last headline here. Maybe this will help settle some tension. I know my tension sounds a little is feeling a little bit better after reading this. So the other than what it's about to start. So the Ukraine says that destabilization fueled by the Biden administration hysteria, not Russia. All right. So the Ukraine is saying, yes, Russia is on our border, but they're not. It doesn't, I mean, they don't feel like Russia is just going to come and invade them. I still have strong feelings about that. But the Ukraine is reporting their biggest challenge right now is the Biden administration. Their biggest challenge is the crap that our president and their administration puts out. Not, I guess, let me back up. Not my president, not your president, but the guy who's sitting in the driver's seat right now. He's not my president. I know he's not yours. So he is causing more damage than good. The administration is doing nothing to help the situation. They're actually fanning the flames here and causing more headaches for the Ukrainian government, the president, Zelensky. So I'm gonna stay focused on this and keep up with it. I'll keep you guys abreast about what's going on because it's far from over. This is just now kicking off. They're digging in. It shows trenches. They've dug trenches. They are preparing for whatever's coming. I don't know what it is, but they are definitely dug in, just like World War II. So that's the headline hits for today. I'll be on later this afternoon with John Estabrooks on Podbean. If you guys want to join us there, it's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we'll be back on later this evening here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. All right, folks, have a great day.